Hey friends, welcome back to Vince and Gigi's Super Channel G, and look how incredible these action figures look from the Black Widow Marvel Legends set for Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure. They look absolutely incredible. I can't wait to show you just how incredible they look. Look at this, especially these right here, directly from the movie. They look absolutely phenomenal. Why don't we go ahead and get started? So guys, if you have not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe below. Hit the notification bell next to it so you're notified every time we have a new video come out. Talk to us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. And yeah, do you already own these? Which ones are your favorite? I bet we're gonna find out real soon, guys. So talk to us in the comments below. And why don't we go ahead and get started right now?
It's so nice to meet you, Gigi.
Super Channel G.
Vince and Gigi, Super Channel G.
Vince and Gigi from Super Channel G.
Vince and Gigi from Super Channel G. I will see you on the TV.
Congratulations on all your success.
Super Channel G.
Alright friends, welcome back to Vince and Gigi's Super Channel G. I can't wait to get started with this complete Build-A-Figure set. These are Marvel Legends from the Black Widow movie that's coming out later this year. I can't wait to take a look how incredible they look and to build this Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure. So let's see exactly who is in this set. So we have Taskmaster, we have Black Suit Black Widow, we have Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Winter Soldier from the comics, Marvel's Crossbones, and Marvel's Spy Master. So these look absolutely incredible. And if you take a look at the back, look who's in it. These all look incredible. And look at this awesome Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure. And this looks like it's the Mark II version, right? I'm a little out of focus here, but we'll get that fixed. So let's dive right on in. What do you say? Alright, so first we're gonna do this incredible Taskmaster. And let me tell you, this Taskmaster looks absolutely amazing. And you know what I was thinking? Just to show you how cool the other Taskmasters are from the previous sets, check this out. We want to do a video soon of all three of the ones that we have. We might actually have more when you take into account the Toy Biz era. We have these other Taskmasters and they look absolutely great. But of course, let's focus on our movie one today. And keep in mind, the movie has not come out yet when we're making this video, and we're actually not sure. It looks like they pushed it back to November 2020. It is still April 2020 when I'm making this video. So we'll just go off what we know so far and the really incredible trailer. So look at this beautiful action figure. It looks absolutely great. Looks just like the trailers that we've seen. And look at that really tech-looking mask right there. Doesn't that look absolutely incredible? Look at this beautiful artwork. It's kind of just appears to be, well, maybe it's not even a mirror image. It looks like the same image twice, and then this really cool concept art back here. Again, we have a close-up of who's in this set, and each one of these action figures contains one Build-A-Figure piece for Crimson Dynamo, except Taskmaster. You know what I just noticed? Notice how this is not out of focus yet. This sort of looks that way. It's actually that way on the print. It's just not really focused. But anyway, let's take a closer look and let's see what the write-up says back here. And this write-up says, Taskmaster is armed with the ability to mimic an enemy's every move. And if you've seen the preview, he does like this Spider-Man type jump where he's got his arm back like this. He's got almost like a Captain America shield. He's got Black Panther claws. I mean, the list goes on. And I'm anxious to see just what exactly he can do, what his powers are, and who he's mimicking, and how he was able to get like all this stuff. And so I don't know if he's got almost like a Stark Tech visor in there. I don't know. But let's get him open. Let's see just how incredible this guy is. And of course, he does not come with a Build-A-Figure piece. So he's technically optional if you want to build Crimson Dynamo, but trust me, he's not optional as far as having in your collection. Look how absolutely incredible it looks. Oh, I almost forgot Hawkeye with this bow and arrow right here. So we'll take a look. So, man, look at this right here. We can place that in there. Let's pop them on out. And let's definitely dive right on in. And let's see how incredible the detail is on this action figure. Looks like the hood is attached to the top of his head, but cannot be removed. So it's probably glued up there. We don't have amazing head articulation, but we have pretty good head articulation considering this hood right here. But it is, even though it's kind of softer type plastic or vinyl, it does restrict the movement a little bit. Look at that awesome mask where it's almost like a skeleton almost. Look at that with that digital visor. It's got this really cool part that comes across right here, and I'm like, well, is it supposed to have a cape or not, right? Definitely looks like it's supposed to, but I guess part of that cloak. And then I'm not sure what this gear does on his suit, but we're gonna find out when the movie comes out, right? All right, so let's see. He's got a really incredible ab crunch that goes pretty far forward and a decent amount back. He turns right here at the waist, so he turns nice and smooth everywhere. His shoulders, let's see, they click really heavily, and they actually go in pretty well. It's restricted by when it hits about there, if you'll see. So it goes about that far in, won't go any further. Looks like about a mirror image on both arms. Turns right here on this part of the bicep. Look at that. And it's a nice chunky build. Let's see. We do have double joints at the elbow, so we're able to come in more than a 45-degree angle, so that's a plus. And let me tell you, this articulation is nice and strong. Ooh, I don't know why we're able to go beyond going straight there with a 180. So let's see this fist. It does bend in and out and only goes so far out because of that piece right there. It does spin. It looks absolutely great. And looks like we have basically a mirror image here. Look at that. So that's awesome. This elbow is a little bit more difficult to maneuver than I thought it was going to be. So while everything else is great, the part on the forearm is a little more difficult. And you'll see he ends up bending further out. So you're going to have to, that's actually kind of odd. Look at that. You're going to need to support this a little more than I thought. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see the legs. It turns right here on the high part of the thigh. Let's see, we got some pretty good leg movement right here. Looks like we got a joint right there that spins out. This is soft plastic, and this is actually kind of free floating. So, but it moves well. Let's see, we have really strong knee joints, and that's good because it's not going to come loose, but it does move slightly further than straight out. Look at that. Just like the elbow. Let's bend both legs to make sure we get good articulation there. Yep, absolutely. And then of course moves further out. So that's a little different. Gonna get some getting used to. And right here, wow, the ankles actually move really well and pivot. So that's awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the detail on the suit, which is beautiful. Look at the paint job. I love how it's like metallic. Look at that. The belt, the paint job on this action figure is superb. Look at the mold, look at the pants, look at the paint job here, look at that orange and blue, looks great. Look at the boots. The mold on this action figure is beautiful. Look at that. Look at that hood. Let's take a look at the accessories. The shield looks absolutely great and does exactly what like our Captain America shields have done in the past. You can put it here on his wrist, like that. Or we can put it in his hand. Well, I guess in one of the other hands. And then if he had a peg, we could actually put it right here, which he does not. So just throwing that out there. And with an open hand, we can actually put that in there. So let's see what we got here. We have two sets of hands, in addition to the ones it comes with. And let's see what these look like. Let's take all of these really amazing accessories out. So we have to lift this tape right here. How are we gonna get this out? Which part comes out, the front or the back? Let's see. Oof, this is gonna be difficult to understand. Let's see, let's push it down in. I definitely don't want to break this. There we go. We have these Black Panther type claws right here. Look at this. So this is one set of hands like that, and that looks really cool. And it shows him doing that like Wakanda Forever, like across his body in the preview. And it's like really incredible, like saber right here out. Look at that. Zoom in. The detail. So that looks absolutely awesome. That blade and handle, okay. And then these hands, we have one with a finger, I guess, to pull back the bow, and then the other hand to hold it. So let's see what that looks like. Let's get rid of these fists right here by just twisting and popping them off. There we go. Let's pop these right on in. Just by pushing and twisting. And these are probably the hands that we're going to want to keep on here. So let's put the other hands back. I'm going to just pop that right in here. Put that away. And first, let's see what his sword and shield look like. Look at this. Oop. Look at that. You can't tell me that doesn't look absolutely incredible. Let's get him really good action posing. There we go. His knee's bending a little funky. There we are. I can turn him this way. Look at that. Oof. And there's a little bit of restriction with his shoulder. That's the only bad part. And his wrist is kind of pushed out. So, on both of them. So that's kind of interesting. Because it's pushed out, it doesn't pull in as close as I thought it would. I would like this sword to kind of come straight like this, but it's forced out. That's alright. Definitely looks cool. Alright, so we can't turn his head more than that. We can pull the shield about there. I wonder if the shield is the size that it would be in the movie, but let's take a look at that. How great that looks. Okay, awesome. Now let's switch this for this bow and arrow. And this looks like it's just gonna go, wow, cool. I haven't even shown you what this looks like. The great detail here. I love how this is like a soft plastic right here. It's attached here and here. And then this looks like we can just slide on in there. Look at that. So we can, I'm assuming, put this right in. How do we want this? Because that probably has to go up here, right? So since it doesn't show us on the action figure box, let's just put it like this anyway. That way it comes across the top. Even though it's coming across a little awkward. Let's bring the arm over here. And you know what? I won't be able to really straighten it like I would like to. And I don't want to pull it back too far either. So, let me see. He's definitely not going to be able to have the pose that I thought he would. Because in order to pull this back, it would look a little too forced. And this finger isn't going to hold it. So, it's kind of a missed opportunity. Because because I definitely can't pull that back without it looking forced and weird and plasticky. And it's not gonna hold it anyway, look. Because for me to push it in there, it's gonna slide out anyway. All right, so it was a cool idea, but since the whole thing starts to bend, it doesn't work. And since you need to have the arm outstretched, and I can't bring it across the body either, that's the problem. So, it was a cool idea, and the execution just didn't work out. This is cool. So, nonetheless, these accessories still go well. I still love the way they look. They still look outstanding. And we can still, like, probably place them here. But, it's not the same. And I could flip this over the other way, but still, not the same. But still look absolutely outstanding. I'll put that away, and then maybe have him getting ready. So, all right, we'll set that aside. We'll see if we can. What if we try to switch these hands? Will that work? Sort of. Let's see if we can. And we'll come down like this. Have him bring this down right here. And bring this leg up and this leg out. How will that look? Bring this arm a little further like this. This is almost a great pose if I can get it to stay though. All right, that's a little awkward. Let's see if I can fix it a little bit better. But why did I do this pose like this? Why, you ask? Because of this. So let me see if I can get this to work at all. All right, we did as close as we could do to that artwork right there with the mobility that this action figure allows us to do. So it can only go so far back in the arms, only goes so far forward with the arms, and the head only goes so far to the side and around. But still, I think this action pose is still pretty strong, very dynamic. I don't know if the shield is supposed to be a little bit bigger, but nonetheless, looks absolutely gorgeous. I think you'll agree, and I say let's move on. Looks absolutely amazing. And let's put them right on over here. But you know what? The sword's gonna get in the way. Look at that. That's all right. All right, let's move on. Next, what do you say? And next we have this outstanding black suit, Black Widow. She looks absolutely amazing. Look at this. And this comes with one of the legs of Crimson Dynamo. Look at these accessories right here. We have another set of hands, we have a pair of handguns, and we have these batons. That looks outstanding. Let's see, is this the exact same picture? Mirror image. And good, we have another picture in the back, so it's just those two. The same, but this one is different, so it's not the same picture 3 times. And again, here we are. So she comes with the left leg of Crimson Dynamo. And let's see what it says back here. Look at this beautiful artwork. It's absolutely great. It says, Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff reunites with a group of spies from her past to stop a lethal force. Yeah, buddy, look at that awesome action pose. I wonder if we can, what's the closest we can get to that action pose with this action figure? And why don't we find out, right? Let's take a look. Let's see, let's get this open. There we go. Looks like it doesn't want to open. Okay. Come on out. awesome Black Widow symbol back there. Let's get our Build-A-Figure piece out. Look at that. And why is it slightly loose already? Anyway, get that leg over here. Let's see how tall it is compared to her. Okay, decent. And let's pop her right on it. And this piece pops off. No, it does not. And let's zoom on in and let's see what sort of face sculpt we have. Looks like we have. Didn't even notice that there's like a little blemish right there. Let me see if I can get that off. Give me a second. Alright, thank you guys. Looks like I was able to get it off for the most part. Look at that. This great head sculpt. You know what? Let's get closer. That way it's not just a ton zooming, but definitely closer. Look at this face sculpt. Looks awesome. The paint on the eyes looks like several colors just kind of dotted on there, so that looks a little odd when you zoom on in. It looks great from far, but you zoom on in and, you know, it looks a little interesting. The face and the hair sculpt look absolutely wonderful. I'm digging that. Look at that, a little bit of plastic coming off right there. Let's just kind of pull that off. Okay, look at this awesome sculpt. This is a great sculpt. And then I don't know if this belt is supposed to be, yeah, centered right here. That Black Widow symbol. There we go. Looks like it's also not attached, but it's kind of on there. So that's why it can move a little bit. Let's see. We have wow, it's a pretty big ab crunch, but backwards. And then tilt and pivots there. This is where it turns. It does not turn at the waist. Let's see the shoulders. The shoulders move in pretty far in, I guess, considering it has this like shoulder lip right here. They go around, they click every time they move around. Look at that. That holds them in place pretty well. We have a single joint on the elbow. It comes more in than a 90-degree angle, but it does have this to keep it from going back. So I love the detail that's on her suit. I love this right here on her wrists. That looks very reminiscent of the comic books. And then I wonder why this one has it slightly, because you can move this part right here on the wrist. I was like, it looks a little different in this one than this one. Okay, so let's see, the wrist, this one goes side to side, up and down, kind of like that, and around. Looks like it holds a gun. So does this one. They both have trigger finger, and they kind of pivot like this as opposed to back and forth. Kind of undecided about that. Looks like we have two holsters right here. The detail on the suit looks great. Let's see, the legs. I wish they would move a little bit more, because you can't kick higher than that, I guess. Look. And so with the Black Widow being able to do all sorts of great action fighting, it'd be nice for her to do better movement on the hips. See the knees work pretty well. We have good point and flex right here. Do they pivot? Yes, they do. So that's awesome. Looks like a mirror image on these two legs. That's great. The only thing, and it moves right here at the high part of the thigh. The legs open up to about that much, but they only come so far forward because it ends up hitting right here, where when I pushed it actually made a line on the action figure. Look at that, because it hits right here. So that's a little unfortunate, because obviously I don't want it marking my action figure, and I also want the legs to come up a little further than just that. That's not very far forward. So other than that, this action figure looks great. Looks like we're not going to have very amazing mobility to pose this action figure, which is unfortunate, because I wanted to try and do this pose right here. There is no way this leg is coming this high, and she could probably do barely this bendy knee right here. So let's see what the closest we can do to get that is. But let's take a look at these accessories. Look at these two handguns. Those are great. These are two fists, so I don't want any fists. Let's see what these two batons look like. They're a little bent from the packaging. Let's bring this down here. And will they even be held very well? Yeah, because they will. Because they get thicker on the bottom. Look at that. Now we're going to have to straighten this one out. But otherwise, we can definitely have her. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. In order to get it straight, going up and down a 90-degree angle, we'd have to pivot her hand away from this angle it's at. So again, we're coming up on some unfortunate roadblocks here. Let's see. In order to have this here, we can't have it up because we'd have to pivot the wrist up. So this is already not going as planned. We can have that, we can have that. We can have one knee bent. But it's definitely not going as planned. Look at that. It's the best we can do to bend her leg up for it to look like this. So we're gonna have to think of another pose. And I don't know if I like the way these look with these hands that it came with, because they're leaning too far forward. And to bring them back, we don't want the wrist going like that. It should just naturally close like that. So let's try putting the guns in her hand, because that should look better. There we go. Pull those out. And hopefully they're not at a weird angle. Let's pop that right in here. Okay. Here we are. Just place it so that the wrist works well. And you know what? That should work. So let's see. Let's bring a different pose in this. All right, so we're gonna do a very simple stance, a very strong standing in control stance. Very simple. Looks like the leg is getting loose. Look at this. Unfortunately, and because her limited ability to be posed, we're gonna choose to go with this. Now, I forgot to mention how much ability we have to move the head. We can move, pretty far down, but if you'll notice the way the hair is and the fact that it's still like really thick plastic, we can't move it other than really side to side and barely pivot. So moving it to this side will allow for more mobility. This side will not, because it's going to start hitting there. But nonetheless, for our power stance, we're going to spread the legs a little bit like that, and then just have her just very confident. What do you say to that? I think it looks absolutely amazing. Put her right over here. There we go. Look at that. And from this angle, looks great. Look at that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next action figure. All right. Okay, so next we have Yelena Belova. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. Set that leg aside, and let's take a look at this incredible action figure right here. Looks so outstanding. The only gripe I have about this box is it looks like the same artwork 3 times instead of at least 2 different pieces of art on this box, and technically a 4th time. But she looks great. Looks like she has 2 sets of hands, and it's 2 fists and 2 open hands for the handguns. So it looks like, is it the same handgun as the Blackwood over there? Yep, definitely looks like it. And this definitely looks like one very similar to the vest she was wearing in Black Widow was wearing in Avengers Infinity War. And don't forget, she also had blonde hair in Avengers Infinity War. So let's get her out. Let's take a look. And you know what? I almost forgot to read the write-up. So right back here, it says, Yelena Belova, a product of the Red Room's ruthless training program. Yelena Belova is a fiery assassin. Absolutely incredible. Pop her on out of here. Ooh, I don't want to tear the box. Why is it not? There we go. Come on out. And jeez, look at all this Build-A-Figure pieces. Wow. This looks like one shoulder. And I guess that's the back. So that's going to go here. So, incredible. Let's see how tall he's going to be. I guess not ridiculously tall, but definitely tall. Taller. Alright, and let's set these parts aside. And we'll get to that later. Let's get this action figure on out. And she has her hair braided like that. Let's go ahead and get her guns out. And let's put them right here in the holster. Something that we didn't do with our last unboxing of the Black Suit Black Widow. Oh, and there's one. And these are knives. Okay. So let's take a look at that. Of course, we have a set of hands right there. Let's set the package aside for a second. Let's bring this on in so we can take a look. And so look at this face sculpt right here. It looks like we have kind of the same thing going on with the eyes on this one. How when you get really up close, it's just like a bunch of sprayed dots. And it almost appears to have detail when you zoom out, but not. Let's see if I can get also this black speck off right here in a second. Okay, I was able to carefully get it off with a knife. There we are. And then, wow, this head's a little looser than what I thought and would like, but it is staying whichever way I put it. Interesting. So it actually does not have a joint. It's just on a ball. So it's on a ball joint, but she actually has an extremely long neck. So I don't know if I prefer that. I think I like the one they did for Black Widow. So let's see. The shoulders have a lip here also, but these go more than a 90-degree angle out, or at least that one does. Or right at it, I guess. Let's see. And we can go further in than 90 degrees right here on the arm for the elbow. Oof, you're gonna need to support this. It works here too, but you really had to push it in. And these can move also, so be aware of that. Let's see, these wrists, the fist wrists do come in and out. And the wrists that are made for the gun probably go side to side. Yep. So, and then these right here, these stun wrist bracelets. They're not glued on. I love the paint job right here on this tactical vest. That looks absolutely great. Not feeling it with this simple ball head joint. We have good ab crunching here and mobility. The shoulders do go all the way around. These don't necessarily click. And then the waist doesn't move, it moves right here at the rib cage. Let's see, this is also not attached, but it is on there really well. That Black Widow symbol. And this is, however, attached to the leg here. These holsters right here, the holster, and then, man, this is some soft plastic. Look at that. Right here for these knives, daggers, and let's see. Again, these legs don't come very far forward. It starts hitting right there. So it's probably almost the exact same mold as the Black Widow black suit. Let's see. We have this leg actually comes in even further. Right here on this knee joint, this double knee joint. So that's cool. But that doesn't do us a whole lot of good. A little unnecessary if the legs barely even move out. forward. She can't even sit up without leaning back. Look at that. You'd have to ab crunch her a lot just to get her to sit up, almost. So I'm a little disappointed in that. Look at that. You have to at least have them sit up straight. Okay, let's take a look at the boots. They pivot pretty well. They go forward and back. And so the sculpt is amazing. The paint is, I love it. I love the way the gloves look right here, even though there's a little bit of paint missing on the inside. The face and the head sculpt and all that looks great, but it's the neck and the way the paint is just sprayed on doesn't really strike me as outstanding. But it is cool to have an action figure of her. Let's move this up. And, you know, her head having to stick out like that is not one of the finer points. So, the fact that it just pops out so much takes away from some of the impact. But I'm sure we can find a good pose that ought to work. Maybe we should put two guns in her hands also. Let's see. That still looks great. Let's see what happens when we put her right next to Black Widow. So, that's pretty awesome actually. Look at that. I'm digging it. Alright, we'll leave it like that for now. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see who we got next. And next we actually have Red Guardian. And Red Guardian looks outstanding. Looks absolutely incredible. And I think that's probably the size of the shield that Taskmaster is supposed to have. But again, haven't seen the movie yet. It's only April. Movie's not supposed to be coming out till November now, since it got moved from May. And here's the left arm of Crimson Dynamo. And look at this beautiful artwork. Let me zoom out real quick. I wish we had an alternate head that had that, because that helmet looks great. Love the way that looks. Same picture, mirror image right here. And unfortunately the same picture a third time and then a fourth time, because it would be nice to have, you know, an alternate artwork back here. But let's take a look. And so it says, Red Guardian Alexei Shostakov is a super soldier and spy who has lived a lifetime of triumph during the Cold War. And wow, look at that. And you know what? Just like we kind of talked about Taskmaster, check this out. We had this bad boy straight up cold chillin'. And look at the difference from this simple comic book Red Guardian, his paint job, the colors and everything, comic book style, versus the movie one, which actually looks so much more grounded in reality. Just takes it to another level, doesn't it? Look at that. So we'll compare those in another video, but definitely wanted to show you that. So let's get them on out. And so right off the bat, I wish it did have alternate head, so we can have one with the helmet, but alas, it was not to be. This epic shield. So if ever there was a time to say so. Get closer. Look at this arm right here for Crimson Dynamo. Wow, look how cool that looks. I don't know if this one's supposed to be broken like that. Not sure. Maybe so, but it looks great. We'll set that aside. And as I mentioned before, and we'll put this package from Red Guardian away. Set that aside. This shield has this, so we can perhaps put back here. Look at that. So they can spin it and get it however we need to. So that looks outstanding. Okay, so let's zoom in since there are no other accessories in the shield. This face sculpt looks absolutely outstanding. Now, as I look a little closer, that's unfortunate. Looks a little rushed and looks like there's a brown that got in that line right there. I wonder if that can be scraped out because that part looks a little rushed. From right here, it looks incredible. And then you turn it there and you're like, whoa, I got a little extra. And, or maybe it's, I can't tell if it's missing paint or too much paint, because it looks like too much, but then it's like, if it was like that, well, maybe it's just not enough and didn't make it all the way to the end. Nonetheless, the hair looks pretty cool. The paint again does look a little rushed right here. It's a little touch of gray, but overall, you can definitely tell that's him. I love the texture on the suit. I love how there's a little bit of wear and tear look on there, which I'm assuming is supposed to be on purpose. I love this tactical belt, and this one is also free floating. Let's pull this shield off. Wow, all of a sudden now I can't get the shield out. Look at this. Incredible detail right here. And so this also can go right here on the wrist or go in the hand. Because as I mentioned before, like with Taskmaster, this can be tossed right there, or we can put this on the wrist. So let's see, the arms go around, they kind of like click as they go around. The arms go beyond 90-degree angles, and this is some smooth movement, articulation right there. We have double joints at the elbows, but his arms are big, so it only comes into about a 90-degree angle. Look at that. Still outstanding. You can turn right here on this part of the bicep, and it's nice and thick. There we go. The wrists go back and forth, so I'm digging that. I prefer that than I guess this little up and down right here, but you know, great so far. Let's see what sort of ab crunch we have. A ridiculously back and forth ab crunch ability. Turns well right here at the waist, and then look, this thigh actually looks like it moves better than our Black Widow ones. Comes a little further than those. Turns to the high part of the thigh. Same thing on both. And then there's double joints right here at the knee. Look at that. Comes bends to about that much. Now let's see. It moves in the high part of the shin. I'm not a big fan of that, because I'd rather that stay put, because we can't move our shins that way. So it looks unnatural if it gets out of sorts like there. See? And it looks like the knee is dislocated if we move that. So I'd rather move it up here only. Nonetheless, here we are. It moves right here. Take a look at that. The boots look awesome. These straps right here, I'm assuming those are just supposed to be the same color. But overall, this suit looks absolutely great. Look at the texture. It's Red Guardian. I'm glad we have him. And let's see, what kind of pose do we want on him? And the box says just have him standing strong like this, but what about the shield? Like, and he doesn't even have two fists that come in that box. So let's see. Let's try something. All right, a simple but effective stance, like a defensive stance. Look at that. The shield down, and that looks absolutely great. Look at that. So let's set him right back on over here with his spy friends. I think that looks great. Look at that. Bring him back forward just a smidge. That looks absolutely incredible. Take a look at that. All right. Great. So, since he didn't have a lot of accessories, that's all for our Red Guardian, but let's go ahead and move on. Let's see who we've got next. All right, and next in our Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure set for the Black Widow movie, we have this Winter Soldier. This is the comic book version, And it looks like we have the same art 4 times again, which it's cool artwork, but I just wish we had a couple, like on the Black Widow one. This one comes with the head of Crimson Dynamo, comes with 2 guns, and it comes with Bucky right here, right? Sergeant Barnes. So, let's take a look. And it looks absolutely outstanding from here. Let's see what it says right here. The Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is a fierce combatant and an asset in battle, no matter which team he fights for. Which is also unfortunate because you want him to fight for the good guys. But it's awesome to have him. Comic book version now. And before I pull him out, let me show you something. You're gonna like this. Here are 2 of the 3 other Winter Soldier action figures we have. Of course, this is from the second Captain America movie. And then we have this one, which is from Civil War. And this one we got as a steal, practically, from Walmart. It's a Walmart exclusive. And then, which I'll have to go and find, we also have the one from Avengers Infinity War, which was a 2-pack, which came with Falcon. But let's get back to this one right here, because we'll later on do a comparison video. Look how cool this is back here. It has all these different Marvel symbols right here. We have Captain America, Thor, so we have Black Panther, we have Nova, we have Spider-Man, we have Avengers, Ant-Man, Iron Man, so on and so forth, Captain Marvel. That looks great. Okay, let's get the head out. Crimson Dynamo. This definitely looks like the Mark II of the Crimson Dynamo suit. Look at that. Okay, let's get Bucky out. Let's get his... Wow, this is awfully soft plastic, but let's get his weapons out. Take a look at that. Got 1 handgun. And what is this? Look at... It's like an assault rifle right here. Let's take him out. And let's get closer again. Let's take a look. Wow. This is, of course, his metal arm. Look how soft this plastic is so it doesn't break off. But then again, it'll probably be ripped off, so be careful with that. Zoom in. And it's more of a mask here than the black kind of like war paint makeup he had in the movie. We have hints of brown in the hair, and we have what appears to be some looks like they've tried it again with a single ball joint on the head. Interesting. On the neck, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that. It looks like it's working out pretty decent here because the hair's down, it kind of covers it up, but I didn't like it on the Yelena figure, so can't blame him for trying something new though. Alright, so this is not attached, but it is supposed to remain permanently on there. And the only way to remove it would be to remove the arms. Let's see what sort of articulation we have here. This clicks as it goes around, moves in the high part of the bicep. So we have double joints right here on the elbow. Moves in pretty well. Let's see this watch. Cool. That can be turned on its own. Let's see. This wrist. Good. It moves back and forth instead of kind of that up and down, side to side. So it moves this way. This finger is pretty soft. Look at that. Little tactical pouches right here, bags. This clicks also. Looks very similar. Oh no, this arm looks huge compared to this one. Look at this. And then we got double joints right here on the elbows. Comes in right here to almost a 45-degree angle. I'm digging that this wrist goes back and forth like this also and around. That looks good. We'll put the gun in there in a minute. So his belt does move around freely on its own. It's got great detail and great colors there. This does not come out. None of these weapons do. These grenades, these magazines. This handle for this blade is really small. Look at that. Some more magazines. This is floats right here. Let's see. We got some really heavy duty knee joints. Look at how heavy duty that is. Okay. turns right here in the high part of the thigh. Let's see. Same thing on this leg. It's kind of just a mirror image. We got really great baggy pant detail right here. Look at that. Very nice. The boots, some really well done boots as far as the detail on them, and then they do pivot well, so that looks great. So this Bucky action figure looks awesome. And let's see, which gun do we want where? We can put that one there. We can put this one here. Ooh, this is some soft plastic. We'll need to open up this hand momentarily. Just slide that right on in there. We'll put his trigger finger in there. And you know what? How do we want to pose this Bucky right here? Let's take a look. So let me see. Give me a second. Let me see how we go. All right, so one thing we can actually do is have him hold the gun with both hands. That looks outstanding. I certainly think so. Look at that. Depends how we want him to be. Look at that. We can use his ab crunch to look even more fierce. Do we want to do that? Or do we want to have him hold both guns? So let's take a look at that. Okay, and I actually think I like this even better. Just an imposing figure. Look. I separate his legs a little bit so that he's kind of taking a step forward, kind of aggressively. And this Bucky looks absolutely outstanding. Look at that. So I'm going to bring him right on over here. Have him just towering over basically everybody else. Everybody's like in defensive mode and he's kind of like on the offensive. There we go. He's gonna start leaning forward, hopefully not. There we are. Let me just fix his feet real quick. There we go. Hey, this worked a second ago. Let's bring him forward slightly. There we go. That looks absolutely outstanding. Okay, great. And if you want for Red Guardian crouching down, you know, he could probably be as tall as him. Alright, so let's move on. What do you say? Alright, so in this set, there's still 2 more before the Build-A-Figure. And let's see who's left. We still have Marvel's Crossbones, and of course this is the comic book Crossbones. And look, he's got 2 sets of weapons here. Those are his only accessories. And then we have this leg for Crimson Dynamo. Actually, this hand, his arm. Let's take a look at the artwork right here. Looks like the exact same artwork 4 times. They could have at least given us one different pose or something. But anyway, here we are. It looks pretty cool. He does not have that same neck clearly as 2 of the other action figures, but let's take a look at what it says on the back and let's get them out. So it says, Marvel's Crossbones. Crossbones makes it its mission to take out Captain America, no matter the loss of life at stake. Which is something that we definitely saw in Civil War, because he was ready to self-destruct just to take out Cap. Which is interesting because at the beginning of Captain America Winter Soldier, he's definitely got like definitely is in awe of him and thinks he's so amazing. By the end of the movie, he can't stand him. But take a look at this. This looks absolutely outstanding. This is our Crimson Dynamo hand. We'll put his arm over the side and get this crossbones out. And be careful with this because look, you don't want this to rip out. So be careful when you're taking that out. Push it out carefully. And you know what? These almost look like what it was, Jan Rog's blasters, except they're not green, they're white gray. So let's use these instead. Match. Kind of like that little idea that they match. We'll set that aside. And let's take a closer look. And take a look at that. It's got a kind of a cool sculpt. It looks like I got some plastic on my finger. And this one is definitely going to be able to have great head articulation. Look at that. He's got that skull mask, and he can pivot his head a little bit. His arms, nice, chunky around. Look at that. Wow, this one actually goes pretty far back. They're clicking as they move along. He's got the crossbones right here on his chest, in case there's any question of him being crossbones. Oops, wow, got a little overzealous there. And then he's definitely got the strong triceps right there. His double joints for his elbows, bringing his arms pretty good in. Let's see, and let's see. Do his hands. Oh, they again do that thing where it goes this way and barely even moves. Let's see. Same thing with this one. They'll come this way and that way, and they barely even moves that way. These right here on his wrists, they're not permanently glued or anything. And then his belt right here is completely attached right here, and it's got kind of a cool detail right here. It's slightly different color paint right here for the buckle. But it still kind of floats right there. Got a strong ab crunch, look at that. And then moves right here at the waist. Let's see, the legs come up about that far. They move on the high part of the thigh. We got double joints right here in the knees, but they only come into about a 90-degree angle. It does move on the high part of the shin on these big boots. And very glossy boots, and the ankle has got good mobility. Look at that. Let's see what it says here. It says 2020 Hasbro. So it's kind of cool. It's huge, and it's kind of cool how this is blowing. I don't know if I always want it looking like that, but you know, still kind of cool. Let's give him his weapons right here. And this is, take a look at this. I have two of them. Unfortunately, it's kind of pushing down, so we're gonna have to. There we go. Drop that on in there. I'm gonna have to wedge that open by pulling this out. And this one may not be strong enough to do it with this. Or just this, we may need there we go. I twisted it in there. Now I'm having to twist it back. There we go. Where's the other one? So let's jam this thumb open. Well, if I'm just gonna use this, I guess I can put this here and then roll it out like this. Look at that. It's one way. It's not going to be the quickest, but look at that. And then twist it around like that. So that little trick. Actually wasn't 100% sure it would work, but it did work. And there we are. Look at that. So, what do you think? So he looks pretty cool. Let me bring this a little higher. He's definitely tall. He's definitely a big guy. And he definitely wants revenge out on Captain America. But, you know, not a huge fan of how he looks, but definitely cool to add him to our collection. So, let's see. Let's bring his ab crunch. Down like that. Let's turn him this way. Let's see. How do we want him standing? Alright, let me see. Let me play with a couple poses. Give me a second. I guess I could try and do this again like the other ones, but Don't know if it'll work. Let's see. Alright, so I ended up settling with something simple. Again, just like a menacing, strong power pose. And I couldn't figure out why he looked so odd at first. But it's because his belt was so high up. I was like, man, he looks so odd. So when I pushed that down, he looks better in proportion. But again, he does have like long legs and a short, wide torso. And kind of like an arched back. So he doesn't look great in every pose because of, you know, he's got odd proportions. So let's put these gray Jan Rog guns right here, actually in these holsters. They actually fit very well. Look at that. Let me see, it goes right here. You can't fit the other ones because they're too big. Let's just check him out with a bunch of guns. Look at that. And there we are. We'll have him just kind of flexing with his gun across his double barrel gun across his chest. So, and the other one down. So that'll work out great. Look at that. He's definitely tall. There we are. Look at that. That looks awesome. There we are. And we have one more action fig in this Build-A-Figure set. So let's move on. Let's see what we got. We have today, last but not least, in this Build-A-Figure set at least, because then there's still the other two after the Build-A-Figure. This is Marvel's Spymaster. And let me just say, I'm not excited that this appears to be like the Blizzard body sculpt. Even has the shins that move there, and I don't know. And then again, he's got the same gun we just talked about right here with Crossbones, that Jan Rog looking one. It's like that laser, but nonetheless, let's get him open. We have not even mirror image, the same picture right here on the side and the same picture on the back. So again, we have the same picture 4 times. Could have at least given us a different artwork there. And let's see what it says. Marvel's Spymaster, an undercover operative skilled in sabotage. Spymaster possesses superb fighting capabilities. Let's pop them on out. Let's get them open. And unfortunately, not one of my favorite body sculpts. And single accessory, and not even a great one. So here we are. We have this other leg for our Crimson Dynamo, and that will complete our set. Bust him on out of here. And let's get that gun, that little pea shooter on out of there. Let's see what's going on here. Let's set that aside. And let's zoom on in here. So, Spymaster. There's his symbol right here. So we even got some paint bleeding. And right here, looks a little rushed. Not even a clean line. Almost looks like a crayon line. As far as the head, the paint job on the head and the symbol right there looks okay. There's a scratch right here, unfortunately. Let's see. For head articulation and movement, we definitely got strong mobility there. We can turn it, we can pivot a little bit, all the way down, all the way back. That's great. We got this really strong ab crunch. Interesting, that gap. All the way forward, look at that. Arms move all the way around. Check that out. They do move beyond 90-degree angle out. Move in a high part of the bicep. The elbow does move into almost a 45-degree angle, it would appear. And then just about mirror image on those. The wrists do go back and forth. I prefer it like that. We can put the gun in either one of the hands. We do have a holster right here, this lemon yellow holster. We have this gun, which I told you appears to be, look, the same gun but a different flavor. Look at that. We have gray which is, I guess, mint and cherry flavor. Now let's put that back right here on Crossbones. And just to be honest, this is my least favorite of all the molds of guns. So that can go right here in his holster, which we'll take it out in a minute. So we have his hands are really wide open to hold guns. Comes right here at the waist. Got a ridiculously strong ab crunch. This is a floating utility belt. You even have the S right here, but it's only red on the front. It kind of bleeds over to the top and the bottom. We have a little bit of paint bleed right here, and then we have this little bit of utility and tactical belt, but it's not a whole lot to it. It's not a strong mold, and it's even kind of pushing out right there. Let's see, the legs do come pretty well forward. They do bend pretty well at the knees right here. They bend a whole lot better, look at that, than our Black Widow ones in Yelena. The legs do come out straight. It actually feels a little looser now. It does move right here, as I mentioned. The high part of the thigh, of the shin. We do point and flex pretty well right here on the ankles. And unfortunately, this is not the most amazing action figure. We do have multiple symbols right here. And let's get his gun out. Let's see how well it fits in his hand. Looks like it fits well. And there we are. So let me see something. Let me show you something. All right, so I wanted to show you that I'm not sure if it's exactly the same sculpt, but it definitely looks very similar to this Human Torch. With this Human Torch, actually, they did a pretty decent job. There are some obviously some striking similarities. Unfortunately, this look, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to this one, but yeah, it didn't help that I was like, you know what, they did a pretty good job with this, because it had all these cool little flares. I like the way this you could see through him, and the texture and the head sculpt. Like, this is probably the best I've ever seen with this body sculpt, but it didn't help that it fell apart. So and this one looks a little uninspired to begin with. At least that one had really cool, like, the plastic happening going on. So all right, let's get him in a pose and let's move on to Crimson Dynamo. What do you say? So what's the best pose I can get out of this blue and yellow figure? Let's see. Give me a second. All right, so we'll just have him like with a quick little on-the-go stance. Set him up over here next to Crossbones, and we'll call it a day for him. Look at that. Okay, cool. Look at that. So far, these four obviously are my favorite. They look amazing for the movie. And then we start to drop off one by one here till it's like pretty good. All right. All right, so let's move on to our absolute last action figure from this Build-A-Figure set. And then who knows, the last two after that, the special exclusives. So what do you say to that? All right. Moving on to Crimson Dynamo. Part you've all been waiting for. His legs right here. Let's see what this actually looks like right here. Look at that. That looks pretty cool, actually. So, yeah. Not bad. Okay, so let's get them built. Let's just take a quick glance to make sure we're not missing anything. Those go on the right shoulder, and then everything else pretty much self-explanatory, except it doesn't show the back. Okay, so Crimson Dynamo. What do you say we pop the head on first, and look at that neck pivoting right there. Look at that. Let's get closer in here. That looks great. Okay, let's pop this. You sure this leg goes here? Nope, it goes here. Oof. Oof, didicus. Was it on? And the only reason why I knew it was that leg, which I had it backwards, is because it angles up that way. Wow, that was. I was gonna say, wow, that was easier than I thought. Popped right off. Look at that. There we go. Oh man, it's not staying on. It should be, and it's just popping right off. There we go. Let's pop this right on in here. Look at that. There we go. This one in here. Very cool. This is actually awesome. I was afraid it might kind of look like the one that was the Kree Sentry or whatever. This looks like it just pops on right here and right here. And then this would go right here and right here also. Very cool. And then this, I guess, just pops on right here. Goes under that, I guess. There we go. Look at that. Incredible. Let's stand back. Let's put it down like that. You can see how big it really is. Look at that. All right, looks pretty awesome. And I want to show you, if you're not familiar, just lift it up right here. And if you'll take a look to see which person was actually in this suit, I would guess it would be this one, obviously, because look how incredibly close this looks for this Crimson Dynamo. And then if you read on, obviously, this was kind of like the second version made by that was originally made from Anton Vanko's suit, but I believe was never able to actually use it. But either way, it looks pretty outstanding. Look at this. I love the detail. There's a lot of love went into this figure. We can move right here the neck. We can also move it right here at the head, the base of the neck, and it looks absolutely menacing and looks wonderful. I love that the arms move pretty well. This can actually just pop out if you'd like it to. And it still moves up and down a little bit. It can move right here in the elbow. It does not quite come into a 90-degree angle, but still, this definitely rotates in and out. Look at that. This beautiful detail on this fist. This beautiful detail on this hand. This does the same here. It's nice, smooth, fluid motions. And man, that looks so great. Look at the detail on the back of the suit. He turns right here where the rib cage would be, and then ab crunches really well. The legs, now the legs might pop off if you move them too much to the hip where they popped on, but we have double joints right here. Look at this great mold right here. Look at that. Turns right here where the hip joint is. Well, no, on this side, here's the hip joint here. Let's see how far forward the legs actually come. Pretty far forward, but as I mentioned before, this doesn't go super far in, so this might still pop out. Heavy duty knees, the boots, the feet do pivot well and they turn, but obviously he doesn't need to have any crazy posability like Spider-Man or anything, so that's something that just keep in mind. But he is pretty big. Let me see, who can I compare him to? Well, here's what I'll compare him to. I was afraid he was going to look like Kree Sentry. So Kree Sentry actually is taller than I thought he was going to be, but Kree Sentry looks kind of off and goofy. Look at that. Because I don't know, his torso's kind of like off, and huge shoulders and big Reese's Buttercup hat or whatever. But look how great this looks and how this one just doesn't cut it. But either way, there's the size, and then to put him next to, like, check out Molten Man. Let me put Molten Man next to him. You'll see that. Set that aside, or let's put him on this side. And that'll tell you how big our Molten Man figure was. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? So, 3 build-it figures right here, all under one roof. Okay, great. That was a lot of fun. And what do you say, guys? We still have 2 more action figures that are Black Widow related. Of course, one from the movie, one from the comic books. What do you say we move on to these 2 right here? To be continued.